Yeah, it was getting kind of silly for me to just simply like reach all the way over there trying to stay in my seat when that's clearly not going to work. Especially when you consider the fact that trying to get this tree in the frame as well. So let's see, my low and high act of kindness. You know what? My low and my high are both interconnected because my mom is definitely better because she was sick all week, but she didn't want to risk because. Oh, let me back up. Last night, my brother and my sister-in-law wanted to go see a movie, and normally when they do that, they ask my folks to watch them. My mom, even though she's better, she's still worried about getting my nephew sick, so she figured, I'll stay home and my dad will go, and it's fine. I mean, at that point, the boys are getting ready for bed anyway, so for lack of a better, you know what? After he's done putting the boys away to bed, he can just Netflix and relax. Don't worry. I know what Netflix and chill means. I've never done it, but I know what it means. Anyway, so my dad wasn't able to be with my mom and I, which is my low, especially when last night I actually wound up seeing a really great movie on Netflix that, okay, full disclosure, this movie is like several years old, but last night was my first time watching it. And my mom really wouldn't normally be into a movie like the movie I'm about to describe to you. But I did tell her, listen, this movie was Academy Award nominated. It's a Christmas movie. And my mom was always looking for ways to, play with my nephews or her grandkids. So I figured, how about you watch this movie and you can see if it's okay for the boys to watch. Because listen, eventually kids are going to watch TV. They're going to have their eyes in front of a screen. There's nothing you can do about it at this day and age. You might as well just, if you're going to have them be in front of a screen, it should probably be like, something good or something wholesome. And that's what this movie last night was. Oh, by the way, my act of kindness was, it was just my mom and I, so for dinner, I just helped set up and clear the table for dinner. That was really about it. My mom had to do some shopping at Sam's Club, so we had a roast chicken, we had some French fries, my mom made French fries, the frozen bag of French fries, obviously, and Brussels sprouts. It was very good. So last night, my mom and I saw the movie Klaus. Now, I mentioned earlier that this movie is several years old, and it is. It came out in 2019, long before having a Netflix account was completely, foreign to me. Seriously, I've had Netflix for almost a year now, and I'm like, how did I ever live without it? That's how good it's been. Okay, so Klaus is it starts off with this young postman whose father owns like the whole postal service industry or whatever, and he's rich, he's pampered, and he wants to be a postman, but he's not really trying yet or whatever. And so his dad's like, listen, I'm going to send you to this very far location where it's always cold and miserable, and you have to mail 6,000 letters within a year, or I'm going to cut you off. So basically a sink or swim mentality. And needless to say, when he gets there, the town really is cold because there's snow everywhere. It really is miserable. There's a giant feud going on between the Crumbs and I forget the name of the other family. And so, trying to mail letters, no one wants to mail letters. However, he notices on the map of the land that he's at, there's a woodsman who lives pretty much by himself, and he tries to see if there's any mail that he could ask for the woodsman who lives there for some mail. And it turns out that he gets to the, the woodsman's, workshop, and there's like lots and lots of toys, hundreds of toys, because he makes toys. It turns out that the woodsman is a giant white bearded man. The beard is white. I mean, actually, in this case, this guy, basically this is supposed to be who Santa Claus looks like in the movie. Just a giant, big guy with a long white beard. And yeah. So the postman's like, listen, you have all these toys. I can get the kids to mail letters to you so you can give them the toys and, do like a little back and forth. And this is actually a town that's pretty much stuck in its ways in terms of feuding. But as the movie goes on, the town becomes better. Kids are playing with toys more, everyone looks happier. The feud is starting to die off with the exception. Basically, the antagonists of this movie are like the matriarch and patriarch of, the matriarch of the Crumbs and the patriarch of the other family whose name I can't remember off the top of my head. It begins with an E-N, I think. I remember that, but anyway. So they decide to have a truce to, get rid of Klaus and the postal worker. And, it's kind of like a lie revealed story, but before all that happens, the town really is starting to get better. There's a school teacher who's voiced by, I believe, Rashida Jones, who works as a fishmonger because no one wants to read or write, but when the postman says, listen, if you write letters to Mr. Klaus, we'll get you toys. And like, we don't know how to read or write. So they start going to school, and so the teacher stopped being a fishmonger and actually starts teaching. And all throughout the movie, the mythos of Santa comes to light. Like, they're trying to pull a giant sled full of toys, but the woodsman's horse can't do it. But they see these 5 reindeer, so they try and get them. The postman going through the chimneys at nighttime, filling stockings with smaller toys, or coal if you're a bad little boy or girl. It's actually really funny because the first time he puts coal in someone's stocking, the little kid's like, hey, what's the big idea of getting coal in my stocking? And then the postman's like, oh, Mr. Klaus knows you're bad. He's like walking up like, oh, he knows when you're bad. He sees everything you're doing. Like, he's like looking like kind of right here. It's intense in a funny way too. It's awesome. So obviously that little boy starts being good, presumably. I mean, you don't really see it after that scene. And they decide that, there's not many toys left, so they're like, okay, how about, we do it all on Christmas? And then Klaus is like, where are we gonna get all the toys? It turns out there's just like one little girl who speaks a different language, who lives off of the island. And it turns out that her people know how to craft things, so they make the toys. Basically, they're supposed to be like the elves in a way. And their outfits are like a great, obviously red and blue are always a great color combination. But what they decide to do is the night on Christmas Eve, they give Klaus the signature Santa outfit, complete with poop. Well, actually, it really wasn't. It was really more like what's the name of that one cylindrical hat? Kind of a fedora, I think. Like it's like kind of like round, but like there's sort of like a little poofball thing, whatever. But it's big, it's red, it's white. It's that's the signature Santa Claus costume. And the lie revealed sort of rears its ugly head, and so the two families get rid. So the two people who still want to feud, two groups of people still want to feud, they get rid of the postman, and so they're trying to end what Mr. Klaus is about to do. It turns out though that because the teacher winds up helping them, right? And so they actually pull the old switcheroo. It's really great because the postman comes up like, I'm going to save the day. And basically their plan was they had like a giant bag filled with fake toys, basically like blocks of wood, right, or whatever. But the feuding families, you know, they didn't know that. So there's this giant chase scene, which is actually really, it's a really good chase scene, if we're being honest. And the toys are destroyed, but you know, the families, like, there's like both sets of families have like one giant son and one giant daughter, but they get together. It's actually kind of funny and cute at the same time. It's really great. And they wind up getting married at the end. It's funny. But there's actually a real bag of toys, and so Mr. Klaus delivers the toys, and then the word of Mr. Klaus spreads all over the world. And honestly, some of the best scenes in this movie are when he gets quiet and sort of does the show not tell thing, which is great. But the most emotional moment in the movie for me, and I want to tell you one thing, I didn't cry, but man, I came close to crying, because they do the Christmas tradition for about 12 years. And earlier in the movie it was established that, you know, the woodsman had a wife and they wanted to have children. And so the woodsman made all the toys for all the children that, you know, they were going to have. But then the wife got sick and then she died. But, you know, her spirit, like, they sort of imply that her spirit is around them because, like, the wind is blowing or whatever. And the woodsman stopped making toys and decided to make birdhouses because the woodsman's late wife liked birds. So they made like a whole bunch of birdhouses, right? So after 12 years, where everyone's, you know, a little bit older, Klaus sees the wind, obviously representing his wife, and then he's like, "I'm coming, love." So he's walking and walking, and he's walking past a tree. He walks, then you see his footsteps. Walks past a tree, and you see more footsteps. Walks past a tree. See footsteps, a tree, and then nothing. And I'm like, I mean, obviously they kind of had to establish that, you know, people get older and move on. And of course they had to establish that nobody lives forever, but they imply that Mr. Klaus just disappeared. And it was like so, like, trust me, I really was on the verge of crying. I was like, man, if that scene just lasted maybe a few seconds longer, like, a tear would start rolling down. That's how powerful of a scene this was. But there's a happy ending, because the postman gets together with the teacher. You know, they have kids, and, you know, he's obviously narrating. And the postman says, "I can't explain it, but every year on December 25th, I get to see an old friend." And the movie ended. Can I also just say that, I mean, I really could make an entire video explaining the awesomeness that is J.K. Simmons. But I think J.K. Simmons might be one of my favorite Santas ever, because he killed it as Mr. Klaus. And everyone, I forget the name of the lead actor who's the postman, but Will Sasso and Joan Cusack are like the heads of their respective families. Trying to remember more of the the late great Norm Macdonald, God rest his soul. He was the boat driver, the sailor, or whatever. He was really funny. I mean, this movie was great. I mean, 2D hand-drawn animation, which looked gorgeous. I mean, of course this movie would get nominated for an Academy Award. For those of you wondering, it lost to Toy Story 4. That's how old this movie is. I mean, it's Toy Story 4. What are you going to do? I can tell you, though, I mean, the other day when I did my MoReas on It's a Wonderful Life, I talked about how I would have to rearrange my Mount Rushmore of Christmas specials and movies. You know what? There's no reason why I can't have more. it's my thing, right? So you know what? I'm gonna have multiple categories of Mount Rushmores involving Christmas specials. So if we're talking live action, I'm gonna go It's a Wonderful Life, Christmas Story, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, and Christmas Carol. Really any version, right? But if we're talking like, if I'm making one for animated specials, well, do I still want to keep How the Grinch Stole Christmas and Charlie Brown Christmas as a tie? Because, again, they are both really short. But if you put them together, you get an hour special. I mean, I actually, full disclosure, right now, I have a Mount Rushmore of both Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon-related Christmas specials and movies. For Cartoon Network, it's 'Twas the Fight Before Christmas. That's the Pop Girls one. The Kids Next Door Christmas special. The Girly Adventures of Billy and Mandy Christmas special. The Head Vampire one. That's a great one. And Johnny Bravo, right? By the way, you're probably wondering, where's that Ed and Eddie? That's actually in the main animated one. I'm putting both of their specials as one together. So there you go. For Nickelodeon, I would say, let's see. The Rocko's Modern Life Christmas special was pretty great. Rugrats. That one I'm going to have to probably work on a little bit. Actually, Nickelodeon and Cartoon Network had a lot of great Christmas specials. I mean, for Nickelodeon, you got like Jimmy Neutron, The Fairly Odd Parents, Cat Dog, Angry Beavers, I believe, had a Christmas special as well. A lot of great Christmas specials there. For Cartoon Network, obviously the ones I just mentioned, but trust me, I'm just like scraping that's just the tip of the iceberg. Trust me, I've seen a lot of great Christmas specials and movies in my time. In fact, that's why I came up with the Mount Rushmore. But now, for what I've seen, and because in the last couple of weeks I've seen 2 really great Christmas-related movies, I need to make one live action, one animated one. For now, for the actual real animated one, I think I'm still going to keep How the Grinch Stole Christmas and Charlie Brown Christmas as a tie. Because, again, they're both short, and when you put them together, you get an hour special. The same thing with both Ed and Eddie Christmas specials. So, yes, the Ed and Eddie Christmas specials, the Charlie Brown and the Grinch, Klaus, putting Klaus in there, and I mean, I could probably do all the Rankin-Bass stuff and group them all together, because there's a lot of great Rankin-Bass related stuff. But then again, there's so many specials of those that could be its own category. I'll have to get back to you on that, but regardless, I hold Klaus in that high regard. That's how good this movie is. I highly recommend you watch it. And, you know, if you have Netflix, go for it. It's really great. It's heartwarming. It's fun. It's funny. The animation is gorgeous. Watch it. It is my recommendation that you watch it. So I hope you all liked this video. And if you did, leave a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, follow me on social media. As always, I'm very humbled to make this video for all of you guys watching. Enjoy today. Hopefully a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful Saturday. Oh, did I do Happy Saturday? Happy Saturday, everyone. Ooh, and that reminds me. For the city of Corning, Happy Sparkle. I'm going to try going there later this afternoon. I'll have to finagle my way around a few things, but I'm going to try and go to Sparkle. And remember, ladies, when I talk channel is going to be here to lend you all your back. Take care and make good choices. 607 all day, baby.